much more time.
All right, let's go.
Let's get started. Anul, would you like to set some context and give a quick update? And then after that, we can go around the table.
All right, so this is one of the first that we're having, but we plan to have some more. The idea is to discuss technical issues that we're having with the systems that we're building. Ask if anyone has insights or solutions for it. Try and collectively figure out solutions to common problems and so on, mostly related to engineering. If it's, I think, sourcing or something, it's best that we take it on the sourcing group, for example. So this is purely about building the kit and making it work so that we get between 15 to 25 LPM at more than 92% concentration. So that's the context. We can discuss electronics as well, so that's not an issue. But I request anyone who needs to say anything to keep it short because we have a big bunch of people here that will then have a say. Baba, do you want me to update on Goa Lab status?
Yes, that would be great. Thank you, Anul, for setting all the context. Perfect.
All right, so just for everyone who's signing in, Goa Lab, we have built the Oxikit completely 100% out of locally sourced parts. We have ordered an Oxikit kit from the USA, which was, I think, ordered more than 10 days ago, but I'm guessing we are not receiving it until at least the 18th. As of last tracking, it was still in Amsterdam. So we have a locally built kit here in Goa. Based on whatever restrictions we have with sourcing, we were still able to manage to pretty much build it. We've been testing it off and on for the last 2 days, trying to iron out some kinks. There were a couple of leaks here and there which were fixed, and some other tweaks. We are putting in fresh orifices because we found the orifice diameters were not equal, so we were having unequal pressure in both tanks and so on. So a couple of those things. The main thing we're trying to tackle right now is remove humidity from the ambient air before it reaches the seals. So that's what we've been working on. We've filled our seals with 2 mm zeolite just for test purposes because we want to see if the system works or not. But eventually, once we receive our 0.4 mm zeolite, that's what we plan to run on. As of now, our progress has been hampered by the fact that we still don't have either an oxygen sensor or an oxygen meter. I believe we are going to be receiving sometime tomorrow, hopefully. So if things go right, by day after, we may have some updates, or maybe even tomorrow if the gods are kind of shine down on us. Yeah, so I think the main issues generally, I would say among whole group is what type of zeolite to use in terms of grade and how it affects the performance of the device. The other is what kind of compressors we want to use to make sure that we reduce the humidity. So humidity control is our second big challenge, I'd say. And the third challenge is a proper user interface for the instrument, which allows us to look at the important parameters, primary among them being oxygen concentration, which is currently lacking, and without which I think the Oxikit cannot be used as it is, unless we have a display of what concentration is doing. So a couple of folks in the electronics group are working on that. I'm hoping some of them will speak up. There's probably Gorbachev or Ashish or others here. So they'll let us know what they will do. But I think as of now, that's the update from Goa. Did I miss anything, Baba?
No, I think that's pretty coherent. Just one more safety announcement. While everyone is building these, once again, guys, please be very careful. Make sure that you're following the instructions, making sure, especially the sleeves are nicely tight. You're playing with a lot of pressure. Just before testing, make sure you're sort of following all safety instructions to be able to not allow any explosions to happen inside the lab because the pressure is very high.
One tip from me for those who have probably built but not yet tried switching it on or running it is to see if you can run it at the lowest possible pressure without filling the seals at all. and first of all check for any leaks and stuff. The soap or the shampoo test is useful to get down those leaks. So try and use those and try not uh, to pressurize it a lot to start with. And then you can start taking the next steps as you kind of progress along. So the other tip is also to make sure that you wear proper face mask or protection while you're handling the raw material. Because despite what the label says that it's food grade and approved and so on, the dust from the zeolite itself can be harmful and or carcinogenic. This is something that we've learned from having talked to some of the experts at Stanford and MIT. So regardless of what the research papers say or anything else, it is wise to take the precaution. If it is not carcinogenic, that's fine, but let us assume it is and proceed accordingly in terms of protection. So, playing with pressure and taking care of the dust. Make sure you take care of these two safety precautions primarily. Good, bye.
Yep, that's pretty good for now. I can talk a little bit more later. Let's get an update from everyone else real quick.
Yeah, I suggest those who want to have updates, just raise your hand using the panel, and we'll kind of ask each one of you to do it sequentially. Then you can unmute and talk and do it.
Go ahead, Krishna. Great. Yes, thanks.
Yeah, hi guys. Like updates from Chennai. So we have achieved like 40% of concentration, but we have like a larger zeolite, which is like 5.5 mm, and we observe that we when we increase the pressure to say like 4-5 bar, then the output increases. But then because the burst pressure is at 10 bar and our compressor is also rated at like around 5-6 bar, we don't want to take risk of increasing the pressure. So that's the update from us right now. And in terms of humidity, we have not tested because we don't have access to the humidity sensor and Amazon services are not working in Tamil Nadu. But then, yeah, so this is the update, but we are waiting for.
Awesome.
Nice. Okay, who's next? Yeah, Abhimanyu, go ahead.
So I have a few engineering questions out there. Who is leading the engineering thing? Like, do we have any scientists out there, or the basic PSA cycle and all that? I have a few questions in that.
So, Anul, you want to answer? We also have a few scientists joining.
Yeah, so Abhimanyu is voice cut off, but I think his question is, do we have some experts on this domain over here? We have a couple who are not, in a sense, part of the engineering group, but whom we have access to. Vijay from Fractal has access to a separate group where some of the key subject matter experts have been put together. They are not very comfortable being on an open platform, so they requested that we reach out to them when needed. So we are allowing Vijay to take care of that, and if we have any issues on that, I think Vijay would be the point man to pass your question on to them, and we'll come back with answers on that. We've also been talking to folks at Prakash Labs and other places. So those are people we have access to. Also, the Fab Lab Foundation has joined in. So folks like Eric and others are on board. So they have a lot of experience with building stuff, especially medical and emergency medical devices during the last year. So we have access to those. But if the question is, do we have someone directly here right now? Immediately, no. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the list of everyone who's joined it, but most likely we can reach out to these folks when needed.
Yeah, from our side at least, I believe Anul is leading the engineering side, and that's one great point of contact to be able to disseminate information at least.
Also, fair disclosure at this point, and as I also mentioned in a video a couple of days ago, I had no clue about how PSA systems work. So we are learning on the fly. We don't consider ourselves experts, but many of us, for example, bring many years of experience in terms of engineering or handling problems or solving issues and so on. So this is just one of those. If there are things that we don't know, we are learning as we go. So we are quick learners. That's what makes this group so fantastic.
That's
Right,
amazing.
who's next? Krishna, your hand is still up. Do you want to have another update or something?
Yeah, so I think it was by mistake, sorry.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, just to add to that, Professor Neil himself has joined. Also today, Ramesh Raskar joined the group. They both are from MIT Media Labs. Then Manu from Prakash Labs has also joined. They're all joining and helping out in whatever ways they can. We also had a call with Manu Prakash this morning, and they've been very helpful. So we can connect anyone in the sense that if we have certain questions, we can put it to them directly and get more advice and feedback. Yes.
Also on the engineering group, we have Adi from the Project Apollo team. He has been extremely helpful. Their project is also a pressure spring absorption oxygen concentrator, but it's a slightly different design from the Oxikit. But there has been some synergy between Oxikit and Apollo, primarily with regards to some of the simulation and other issues. So Adi has been pretty helpful. If you ping him on the engineering telegram, I think when he is able to, he will definitely be able to help and get you unstuck. So that's that. All right, who's next? Gorbachev, do you have any updates from Bombay?
So I just came back from Buddha. I made sure that that shipment goes reaches you tomorrow. And I mean, just checking the electronics right now. Probably I'll fill up the sieve tonight because I'll be away from tomorrow. So I'll want to do some concentration test tonight. So hopefully I'll have some results tomorrow morning.
All right, go for it and good luck. Who's next? Abhimanyu, do you have any update? I believe you've been using nanoparticle zeolite. So what's
Yeah. So sorry, I got cut off. The battery got drained. So my updates are like, I will be sharing a Jamboard wherein all the prototypes that I've made, all the different nano materials, all the different 1.6 mm, 0.4 mm, about varying the even the size of the tar. I've all documented all that. We're sharing with that, and I'm in constant. I'm in constant touch with all the makers who are at the advanced stages, and I'm benchmarking every stuff so that the data that we have anywhere in India, according to Indian benchmarking standards, we can read each other's data and we can get insights from each other data. So that is one important thing that I am concentrating on my attention, is that whatever I've built right now, I'm just making it standardized so that you guys can also see what were the results using different nanomaterials or the different type of zeolites, different type of the sieve structure, the different volume, different pressures and all that, so that you can have a view. So this is what I had.
That will be super helpful, and I think in the coming days, once we have a little bit more time. Can you mute your mic, please? Can you?
Sorry, Anul, unmute yourself. I just muted everyone. Yes.
Right, sorry. All right. So that's awesome, Abhimanyu. I think that's going to be really helpful once we make some progress on this. And I think once we have some little bit more spare time and breathing time, what we plan to do is set up some kind of a framework that allows everyone to easily kind of share their device engineering data, at least the major parameters, so we know who's running what kind of configuration and what their results are. So As of now, since I think apart from Abhimanyu, there's just very few people. I think Krishna has something, but the wrong kind of light, and Bhagavatar is still kind of, in the middle of doing many other things.
So I would like Krishna helped me into building this. Krishna from Chennai, he helped me into building this thing up. We had a discussion, and then we made this thing up.
That's awesome. I mean, that's what this whole group is about. We're going to help each other get unstuck. So sometimes, Abhimanyu, when you reach out to one of us and we don't respond, don't feel offended. It's just that you might be busy or doing something. But use the Telegram group. That's the best way of communication. And I mean, we are here to support the best we can.
That's awesome. Great to hear, Abhimanyu and Krishna. That's
Yeah, good.
exactly the spirit of the entire collective. Do we also have Anirudh Sharma over here?
Yes,
Okay.
or is there someone else who wants to Priyank? Okay, Shubh, you raise your hand. Let's see what you have to update.
Oh, this is Abhi. I just have one quick question. Where is there like a sheet, like a Google sheet or somewhere you are tracking what the results are with different performances?
Not yet. Like I said, we've been up to our necks with the actual practical work. So, but that's something that's been toying in our mind for a while.
Sorry to interrupt. I am tracking all that. If you need that information, you can ask from me. All the my prototypes and all that testing, I'm tracking all that. Just sharing here on the chat group also.
Yeah, but we are going to have to organize it slightly in a more better fashion, Abhimanyu, because pretty soon.
Yeah, totally.
Pretty soon we'll have hundreds of machines running, so there'll have to be some kind of a database solution.
Totally.
Someone from documentation can actually take this up as a side project or something. That would be awesome. How do we collate the technical data from every machine? And
Sanket is there's another guy, Sanket, in this group who was talking about simulation and all that stuff. So I guess he should take the lead, or anyone who's has knowledge
yeah,
of simulation.
I'm going to let Sanket do his thing. He's trying to get the simulation run on GT Suite. I wasn't really aware of that tool, but apparently it's something that is used by a really wide part of the industry to simulate all kinds of things, from aircraft to rockets to cars and everything, internal combustion. So it's well suited for a simple project like Oxikit, but it's going to need some special permissions, which Sanket is working on. So I think let him work on that. We need someone else to take up the database generation part of uh, the the machine data that we will soon start collecting, in terms of, okay, Abhimanyu's got so many kilos of this particular zeolite is running at this pressure, and so on and so forth. This is the kind of compressor is using. These are the results. So all of that needs to be gathered as some kind of data points. So let's see, I think between me and Vaibhav and some of the others, we'll figure out if someone from documentation can take this up, as it's purely a database generation exercise with some kind of templates at the moment. So people can just fill up a form and say, here's my data for today, here's my data for the next day. So
Anul, we can take that up. Ashish is said from the documentation team.
awesome.
So we're working on the Notion together, me, Abhi, Bhanu, and Vijay. So we can probably put that up in the Notion and have like a digital database.
Fantastic. We can do a quick short video call sometime to kind of lay down the parameters and the template.
Sure.
Like that, maybe sometime tomorrow. Yeah.
Yes, sure.
Sweet. Yeah, thanks for helping on that, because that kind of will be extremely useful once we go ahead, the data that we collect from the machine.
Also, one more thing that I'm working on is that I'm from Quality Council of India. So all the time spent today was all about certification and all that. So I was going through all those ISO ratings and all that. So we need to think it the other way around also. All the stuff that needs to be certified, we need to broaden our approach, and we need to, if we are not concentrating just on building the Oxikit, but if we want to build some system that should be certified, so we need to think from the perspective of what these certification agency want, what are their specifications. So I spent all of my day to day in thinking all that, and making sure that it gets certified according to WHO standards or the ISO standards or the TUM standard, or whatever that is.
All right, that's awesome. That's good to hear. I think you should put your updates on the certification group and make sure you interact with them to see how we can push this forward. We've had some ideas and thoughts and discussions on how certification will work, but I'm not sure if you want to discuss that right now.
Fair. But it would be very nice to have the certification ideas clarity for the engineering group as well.
Absolutely.
Be able to sort of start meeting those requirements right from the beginning and have that into the system. Yes. Same thing that Manu was about to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at least we need some basic level of certification or approval for this, without which getting the end users to use them is going to be not very easy. So let's think ahead and see how we can tackle that. All right. Some of the other things. Go ahead. Who was that?
Gavish here. So I was
Yeah.
late for this call. So I'm not sure if I missed it, but did we talk about the noise problem? How we are going to handle that?
We haven't. Go ahead. We haven't. So if your ideas, pitch it and let's talk about it. Gorbachev?
Sorry,
Yes.
I lost you guys. Sorry, what were you saying?
Sorry, we lost you.
Hello?
Can you come again?
Hello?
Yep.
No, I was asking, like, what is the plan? Like, are we thinking about like noise isolation? I mean, like noise suppression and all these things, or like how?
Yeah, good point. We haven't talked about it, but I think we can now. The way we see it, the existing Oxikit isn't what we want everyone to build. I mean, right now, all the 4, 5, 6, 7 labs that are building it are just like test beds for experimentation. But this is not what we can bring something out in the field. So one of the ideas is to enclose everything in an enclosure. Hopefully, if it can be an aluminum extrusion, it will be lightweight and cheap enough and robust as well. And keep the compressor as a separate element of this whole device. So I'm open to what people think about it. The way I see it, we treat the compressed compressor and moisture removal as a separate problem, and assume that the air that's coming into the system is clean, dry air. So maybe we can have two different let's say modules like that. So anyone got thoughts on that? For example, Abhimanyu is in Delhi. He's got a very dry temperature, dry climate. So he's been telling us why are we running so much after humidity. He hasn't had problems. So it's likely that you can use the machine as it is in a dry climate in for the north or in the inland areas. But in the coastal areas, you definitely need moisture separation. So that's one. And obviously, the compressor is, I wouldn't say it's really loud in the sense that it's not like that loud. But yeah, I mean, it would help if we do noise isolation. The other problem that noise isolation brings in is if you put let's say noise reduction panels around the compressor or whatever is making the noise, then you also have to deal with how to tackle heat that's generated inside. So we have to balance the two and see which is more important, keeping it cool or reducing the noise.
Actually, I have something to say. I mean, about noise separation, as you rightly pointed out, like we spoke to some doctors who said, like, if there is going to be like a lot of noise, they can't have multiple units in the same room, because right now with the increasing traffic, I mean, in hospitals, right, like they can't afford to have like individual rooms for patients. So that is one problem. And in terms of the solution, what I was also thinking, along with the embodiment, and there are some ways to isolate noise, right? Like you kind of have like double wall structures, and then you insert like a PU liquid foam inside. So it's like
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, practically it works, but in terms of the cost, it's gonna increase the cost.
Yeah.
So that is the problem with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be very careful. I mean, as engineers, we can suggest all kinds of solutions, but if it,
Yeah, exactly. In terms of, and also as
yeah, go
So
ahead.
Raghavendra.
Yeah, go ahead. Who was that?
I have something to say. A new journey to this group today. Harish.
Welcome, Harish. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have already built the setup and dry tested yesterday.
Okay, where are you located?
I am located in Vadodara, Gujarat.
Awesome.
Thanks to Priyank, because I had a discussion with Priyank today, and through him only I got to know and get connected to this forum today. So thanks. Few of the trials we are talking about the noise. So on N2 exit, I have placed the so-called silencer.
Right.
So which has reduced noise level to audible decibel level.
Right.
And furthermore, once since setup is built, I'm planning to have an box setup for that small equipment,
Right.
and that noise padding will be placed with provision of air duct intact. So that is the plan, and looking at like there won't be much of the noise or a silent noise once the machine is wrapped or the covered.
Okay.
Yeah. My trial result was 1 LPM I could get 90% of the purity, and with increasing of LPM level when I tested to 5 LPM. So gradually I have noted down every reading. So on 5 LPM it was giving me 75 to 78 is the range, purity range.
Got you.
What
Yeah.
was the zeolite that you're using?
I was supplied saying through one of the medical equipment supply channel that this is medical grade zeolite. But since my trial are through, I had a discussion with them that I need to know which grade, since because initially I was not aware about all kind of zeolites and the grade performance. Lately I started discovering, since I was struggling for past 10 days to have the result. When I got through yesterday, I had an intense talk with them. So they said it is calcium based, and when I searched through, it is 5A, zeolite 5A is
Yeah.
the category I'm
no,
using.
no, it is not. It is not 5A. It is 5039 something. You got it from Sorbit, right?
Via, I'm sure it is from Sorbit only, but it is a via channel.
Okay.
It's a better grade than the 13X or whatever. Yeah.
Mhm.
Are you using 2 horsepower compressor?
No.
Or?
No, 0.75 HP.
Okay.
Because
That's a great result for that machine, though. So congrats.
yes, actually I started working a month back, and by the time I got to know about the Oxikit and Oxikit people, I had half build done. The fine tuning was I took it the program from Oxikit people, so it actually helped me to fine tune my setup and timing cycles.
Congratulations, bro.
Good work on that. So,
Congratulations,
If
man.
there is a central dock, as Abhimanyu was saying, where different labs experiments with different bill of material and output that they are getting, it will be helpful for people to kind of relate their closest bill of material and then process in the output so that we can expedite.
so
Yeah.
just a suggestion for the time being, let's keep our own data meticulously. And once we have the framework in place, as Ashish from the doc group has said, we could do it quickly. And then once we have that ready, we all of us can start uploading our data online and have it ready for everyone. But yeah, make sure everyone is keeping meticulous notes of what you're doing. Every change you do, make sure you make a note and also note down what is the result of that change. Yes, Priyank.
Yeah.
Abhi,
So
just to add for Abhimanyu, if you have collected any of the information or technical data, because I have been searching and downloading many of the research and literatures done on zeolite.
Will do. Sure.
So it will certainly help to streamline, because see, The initial Oxikit BOM what we were talking and whatever I have built, it is almost different. So
Same here, Harish. I have also built that is entirely different. And
yeah,
but what we need to do is that we need to set some benchmarking. So
correct,
yes, so we might be using this Oxikit for benchmarking, but the thing is that all the materials, all the values, gallons and volumes and
correct,
everything are entirely different. So I'm
correct,
always stressing on this point that we use our terminology, we use our Indian stuff, so that because
correct,
we're building it in India, so
right.
that we need to bridge that.
Well, Abhimanyu, all of us have built kits using local parts. I don't think any one of us has actually built the original US Oxikit. So,
Correct.
yeah, I
The
mean,
one in Krishna, the one in Hyderabad, I guess, he used exactly same as the Oxikit.
no, but he has pretty much built his own. I mean, he's built his own sieve chambers, which he has done a brilliant job using aluminum cylinders and end caps and stuff like that. But I mean, it's a pressure swing adsorption system. There can't be many
Mhm.
differences between 10 different systems that you look at. So visually, they all look the same. They all have sieves, they all have compressor, and so on. So
All right, all right, all right.
car is a car, right? It has four wheels, it has engine, it has doors, windows, stuff like that. They might look different, but they have the same purpose. So I think Hyderabad is not a real Oxikit in that sense. Also, I just want to have a quick show of hands of how many are using tank compressors versus how many are not using a tank, because there are different points of view about the moisture effect with both of these versions, and also, of course, also regarding the enclosure, because once you use a tank compressor, things become a little bit difficult. So. From our side at Goa, we have tried. I mean, we have a 1 horsepower untanked compressor, but that really doesn't help. It doesn't produce enough pressure. But we have a 8 bar 50 LPM compressor, which is what we are going to use because that's what we have at the moment. But anyone have better results in moisture separation when using, let's say, a compressor without a tank? Then let us know. It would be interesting to see the numbers.
So, I mean, in Chennai, we're using a tank compressor, and we see like most of the moisture comes out the tank itself. Like we have like a small
Yeah.
opening outlet, so
Yeah.
we see like most of the humidity is removed there, and then we have this hydrant where the
Yeah.
rest of the moisture is removed.
Yeah, moisture separator and stuff.
Yeah, so
I
okay, you carry.
Go ahead,
no, no,
Priyank.
Priyank, please go ahead, Priyank. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have 2 or 3 inputs to give. One thing, I had an BPL Oxy 5 oxygen concentrator at my place, and I removed the cabinet and stuff, and I just saw what is inside. And at that point of time, as people have mentioned, it was a simple 2-layer structure. There was a metal casing inside where all the components were there. There was a metal casing outside, and through metal casing, there was just some kind of foam that is found in coolers. The
Right.
coolers which are commercially available, that was it. It is similar to thermocol, but just it has to be pumped in, and it will take its own shape. That is
Yep.
all was there in that, and it was pretty silent. And I had used it. Once you remove the cabinet, you just remove three screws, and you'll get a huge sound from that. So it was just basically the sound was same. It was just casing in 2 layers of iron.
Yeah, PO foam, polyurethane.
Yeah, so that is one thing. Second thing, today I met with 2 engineers from genetics, and I had a detailed discussion regarding moisture. I also showed them that this is the hydrant one which we are using, and we are also using the pressure regulator with filter. And he suggested we with one part. There is a 1 micron filter that is available with genetics that can be just replaced in the pressure regulator which we are using, and that
Okay.
will remove all the moisture. By default, it is 25 microns by
Do you
default
have
in the
a-
company.
Do you have a link or a part number or something? Then please share it, and then let's see if we can source it from somewhere.
Yeah, so it is genetics, and it's in from Coimbatore, and it's from official company engineer only.
Okay.
I just put in the evening, so I'll be testing it tomorrow. But nevertheless, I have two moisture capture in my Oxikit. One is the hidden one, and second is at this point I just was able to source 5 micron one. I was not able to source 1 micron, but he's saying that if you want all the moisture removed, just source 1 micron. Ask genetics, and they will provide you with one.
That looks very promising. Thanks for that update. I think let's see if we can get that and try it out. Because that is really going to be our biggest problem. Moisture. Once we tackle moisture, I think the rest of the engineering stuff is fairly known in terms of our ability to control the parameters.
So I guess moisture problem is just faced by you. I'm not getting even small droplets. It's raining outside in Rajkot, but still there is no moisture coming out in the air, and I'm not getting that. I also have that humidity sensor. It's a simple humidity sensor,
Okay.
but I'm not getting any water droplets.
What's
I
your,
haven't.
What's your ambient humidity shown on the indicator that you?
43. 43.
So I mean, in places in coastal areas like Goa or Chennai, it will be about 75.
Okay.
So we people here in Delhi also, we aren't facing this problem.
Yeah, exactly. Delhi will be around 40 as well. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, we have a different problem really.
But what are you getting after the moisture separators? What's the humidity level after the moisture separators?
So I don't have an inline humidity one. So I'm sourcing that. Then I can give you the perfect results that, okay, what is there after the two. I don't have that.
Okay.
As I guess Gorba has built one, and I've tried to source that parts through local channel. I will be getting it by maybe one day or Tuesday, and then I can try it out that, okay, what is the moisture level being removed by the 2 stages of moisture trap.
Okay. What kind of moisture sensor do you have? Is it something that you can insert in a pipe or a tube or a tea or something like that?
No, it cannot be. It is a huge one. It is a simple one, which I don't remember the name. It's a red color from Robo. I had ordered it a long time back, and it was just lying around, and I tried it.
Okay, because one of the tips I think we can try is to measure the amount of humidity going inside the sieve. We can measure what's coming out during the purge cycle from the valve.
Once I have the sensor, I can try that out.
Yeah, so that would be a good place to figure out what's actually reaching the sieve, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah,
because,
sure.
Yep, that'd be great, because even 40% should be bad, right?
Yeah, I mean,
40% going into the sieves will clog the zeolites, will ruin the zeolite batch, right?
yeah, I mean, from what we heard from Oxikit, they have told us that they're actually used some of this zeolite in the sieve as a sacrificial moisture or a sacrificial layer, for example. So the system is designed such that it will work when some of the zeolite in the sieve is let's say saturated with moisture. I don't have any numbers or data to back it up. This is what they told us, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I didn't see the weather data. It is showing 55 in my area. I was getting 43 and 44 in a room. So I guess it was not so humid inside, but outside it is 55 at this point. And I was not getting any water droplets as well.
Yeah, I mean, 55 is still pretty dry. Yeah. I mean, compared to 75, 80 that we are seeing here. So, yeah.
I'm a little surprised because Houston is coastal, and like I would imagine they would have more than 40% humidity there as well. So if they are not using, treatment in between, then I don't know how. But that would be interesting to know, find out.
But from what I've seen in terms of the videos and other things we've been looking at, all of it has been inside some kind of an industrial shed or maybe in someone's house. Those pretty much have some form of HVAC control. So it is likely that inside they really have much better conditions than what we have. I mean, over here we don't have buildings and places that are centrally, let's say, HVAC controlled.
And one more thing I would like to add, someone from the IT Delhi industrial wing told me that whenever you are pouring the zeolite and anything, that should be under a AC. When you're doing all that,
Makes sense. Yeah, of course.
that should be in an AC room.
Right.
You're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, prevent as much moisture from sticking to it as possible, I guess. That's a good tip.
A bit of different knowledge, because I had been told if you have an provision, go in a vacuum chamber.
Oh, wow.
So people gives a lot of opinion.
Mhm. No, I mean, both
not-
work. I mean, if you take it inside a controlled room where the humidity has already been reduced, I think that helps. If you put it in vacuum, even better, because you have 0. So
Regarding moisture, when I was very particularly observing my output of the compressor, it was too hot. The output of the compressor, the could be around 50-60 degree of the airflow.
that's pretty expected, because once your compressor is bound to get pretty hot,
Yes.
well, after the compressor.
So what I did is I selected the pressure regulator which has the gauge and the filter cup. Right. So I'm very much in line with Priyank. At the moment, I don't see the real need of, because I also got an opportunity to see the back cover, opening of backside cover of one of the old scrapped concentrator.
Okay.
And therein I did not find even cooling coil or even the we are saying the sorry.
Yeah, but that's the recreational one, right? Something that is 5 LPM or like a
Yes,
bench.
it was for 5 LPM. Yeah, right.
But I mean, the challenges in those are, I think, different. There's less pressure, there's less volume, there's less of everything. It's overall a much smaller system. So likely, our problems don't affect that kind of a system, I guess.
Actually, adding to Anul's point of view, I think all industrial PSA units have a desiccant bed, like 20% bed.
Yeah.
You know, like because that's what will kind of elongate the life of zeolites and its efficiency.
So,
that is very important.
I'm glad you noted the desiccant thing. Yeah, go ahead, Gaurav.
So I don't know who's speaking right now, but so the thing is, they have a chiller. Okay, they have a chiller, and the desiccant is the last stage, just to make sure it's extra good. I mean, basically, it removes all the moisture. So they also have a chiller. In fact, I went to an hospital today, and they actually had an oxygen concentrator outside their hospital, and there was like a big like a condenser on the side of the whatever the oxygen machine they had, like a big one, like at least like 6 foot by 6, no, 8 foot by 8 foot. So it was a big machine. They had it on the side. So I mean, chiller is also part of it. So whoever is saying that they're not seeing any moisture, that means you're not cooling it enough. I mean, like even 40%, if you're cooling it enough, I mean, you should see at least a droplet coming out of your. Make sure you have a transparent pipe. That also helps to see it, what is coming out of your after the condenser or whatever, like cooling coil or whatever. So if you don't have a transparent pipe, please add it. Make sure the temperature is low. You will see water.
Yeah, that's important, because you know, at 40% humidity, you have to cool the air quite a bit before you can see it form into drops. So that's a good point. Also regarding the desiccant bed. But yeah, before I go to desiccant bed, another thing. The bigger units have heat exchangers. So if we have someone who can reach out to companies that make heat exchangers and get us some insight on if it's possible to like make a small one using something like a radiator and cooling fluid and stuff like that, we should try and explore that possibility, regardless of whether we'll actually put it in the final design or not, just to see if the problem can be solved.
So Anul, that's exactly what I did. I got a condenser and I put it in a bucket full of water right now. But later on, it's going to be a 40-60 glycol, as you suggested.
Yes.
But right now, the water thing works without the fan. Condenser with it's like a single row condenser dipped in a bucket full of water, and I think it's doing its job. So
it's working the other way around. Your air is passing through the coils, and your condenser is totally dumped in glycol or water.
Water right now, but I think I can add glycol.
Yeah, glycol is better, because cooling fluid is not supposed to freeze, but it has a very high heat transfer coefficient or whatever they call it. So compared to water, that will be really much better. Also coming back to desiccant, you know, there have been a couple of things that we've been thinking of. One good way to do this would be to have regenerative silica gel put just before the either just before the air enters the seat or probably just after it leaves the cooling coil, one of the two places. And regenerative silica gel essentially is color changing. So it's blue when it's dry, but it turns pink when it becomes uh, saturated with moisture. The trouble is that you have to probably swap or change it at regular intervals. How often I really don't have any numbers unless someone tries it out. So let's say that if you have to do a can of silica gel once a day, is that acceptable to the end user? Or do we have to do it once a week? Is that acceptable? These are things we may have to kind of ask and find out, because that's a solution, but we have to know if the end user is willing to, do that.
Can we move our discussion to now zeolite and other areas also?
Sure, the floor is open. We can discuss anything under the sun as long as it's Oxikit and oxygen generation.
All right. So talking about zeolites, so what one thing is also important is that that zeolite should also absorb the CO2 that is coming out.
Well, yes and no. I mean, really, yeah, we've been thinking this a lot. The amount of CO2 in normal air isn't really a lot. And most of the designs that I've seen really don't bother too much about that. But if the zeolite can absorb CO2, well, that's awesome. I mean, that'll be wonderful.
Yeah. So
But if doing that adds too much to the cost, or we need some really special zeolite, I think.
no, that does not add to the cost because this guy in Chennai, the one Astral Chemicals, this guy who has a factory out there, he was telling me that his zeolites have the ability, and he's charging at a decent 325 per kg wala system. He's claiming that his zeolites can absorb the as well, and you don't need to add on any other thing to absorb this.
I don't know. Maybe I think it's a good point. Maybe we should ask the doctors or the experts on whether this is a problem or not. The way I see it, it is not. For example, in scuba diving, the rebreathers, they actually do a trick like this where they kind of recirculate some of the air that you're exhaling back in, so that your body thinks that it's getting normal air. So it's kind of a mental trick to make your oxygen tank last longer. So if anyone's interested, look up on the rebreathers. They're pretty interesting devices. So although we have any insight on the rebreather, you've done some scuba stuff, right?
Yes. So just ask me that question once again. I'm sorry.
What's a rebreather in scuba diving?
So, well, what's happening over there is that you're basically pulling in air, and it's sort of, there is a 2-cycle process to it. So as you're sucking in air from the tank, it is sort of like a one-way valve that's not allowing any other air to enter, and then pushing it out from the front. I can do a little bit more research exactly how it works and share.
So my point was that in order to increase the efficiency, so that CO2 would also add up in the if you're the purity level, if you would.
If someone's got a browser open, just check how much CO2 percentage is there in air, and we'll know how much we are breathing. I don't think it's going to be a big issue really. But Abhimanyu, yeah, I mean, if you can find some more, data to tell us that yes, it's a good idea, let's do it. Why not? Also, the way we have seen the pricing, I'm not sure, what to believe and what not to believe. And we've seen prices ranging from 300 to 3,000 to 5,000 in terms of per kg zeolite cost. And I'm sure there are good reasons why each is priced because priced at. There is some kind of a price performance trade-off with it. So we'll have to be careful that we don't buy the low-end stuff and end up with problems.
So in the rebreather, one thing that's happening is that the exhaled air from your lungs is going back in by mixing in a little bit of fresh oxygen.
Right.
So instead of giving you, instead of just throwing away the air completely outside, the air that you throw away from your mouth gets mixed and replenished with oxygen and then comes back into your mouth again. That's why
Yeah.
we breathe
So
out.
the air that you're breathing out is mostly carbon dioxide. So the oxygen goes in and you breathe out of carbon dioxide. But as long as the body thinks that it's getting its lungs filled, doesn't matter what the gas is, your mind doesn't freak out and kind of goes ahead thinking, well, I'm getting good air, so I'm good to go. So this way you can actually extend the life of a scuba tank from like 3 hours to 8 hours or something like that. So I
Yes.
don't think breathing in carbon dioxide is a big issue, really.
All right.
The reason I'm stressing on this is, like I said, I mean, being the kind of folks we are, we love to add what is known as the feature creep. I mean, keep improving things. But at this point, we should kind of look at what's the MVP, the most valuable product kind of feature list that we want.
All right. So one last question from my side. I won't be troubling you guys.
No, but Abhimanyu, sorry to cut you off again, but please do get back to us on whatever you find regarding this. This sounds interesting.
All right. So changing to another dimension. So are there any people out there who are in the advanced stages and they are working out the timing cycle on their own using the physics and all that?
We haven't reached that stage yet. I think Krishna also, because they have Krishna from Diverse, they also have the wrong zeolite. Not sure. Gorbachev, have you reached a stage where you can tune the?
So I would really want someone so that I can discuss what all I have, like all that knowledge that I have received right now, all that experiments that I've done, so that I need someone to like.
Hey, Abhimanyu, what I could do for you is I'm dealing with some researchers from BHEL and ISC who are experts in zeolite, and more or less they've been talking to me about timing cycles. So if you're at advanced stages in your design and already the timing cycles phase, I can just put you in touch with them. Basically, they're telling me to, they are dependent variables, independent variables. This is what you change. This is what you control.
I need all that. Please.
Yeah, so I will put you in touch with where are you based?
Gurgaon, Delhi NCR.
Okay, so I'll just give you his number. Again, he's a very senior person. So
Abhimanyu, I'm really sorry to in this conversation right now. I mean, we already that we already know.
I think Gorbachev is having trouble with his connection, but let's wait and see if we can get that sorted. All right, we'll probably ask him to put his views on text chat or something later if we don't get him up again.
Can you show my screen out here? What I have done or what I'm looking for? Or do you want that afterwards?
Sorry,
you can share, Abhimanyu. You can count on me as well because I'm trying and different cycles on my setup now.
All right. So do we need to do that right now?
So just on the timing cycle, I just wanted to speak on behalf of Anirudh Sharma.
All right.
What he's building is a rotary valve system.
Yeah, I know what he's doing.
So he's possibly, so unfortunately, members have fallen sick and are now COVID positive. And so he's possibly sending the system tomorrow to Goa. We will find out a little bit more about it tonight once we sort of convene on that. But what he's doing is he's not using the solenoid system, but it's one rotary system which reduces a lot of paths. However, it is slightly more complex to build at first and get that right. But he thinks that it's very straightforward. And he's figured out a simulation that allows you to easily create those walls online to be able to figure out the timing and
yeah, that would be very helpful. I had a talk. He's in Jaipur, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, there is in Jaipur. Okay, so we reached the 1 hour mark. I think we should probably stop. Otherwise, we could go on discussing the whole night, being the kind of folks we are. But if everyone's okay, we should have this on a more recurring basis. I am proposing 2 calls a week to discuss just engineering stuff. Is everyone okay with that? And we can set up the next call in the next couple of days where everyone will have more updates and inputs. All right, I call that a yes. I see Vijay, the thumbs up. So great. Where are we? We are on Tuesday. Maybe Friday might be a good day to have another review before the weekend sets in. So I think.
Hey, can I?
Yep.
I'm just got know about this group. I'm really excited. So I'm an individual. I was planning to make this oxygen concentrator at home. So is it possible? Like you all have
Where are you
tried?
based?
Gujarat, Bharuch. I will be close
Or
to
I
Malaysia, I
guess
guess.
Baroda is close enough, but with the
Yes,
current
yes.
conditions, you may or may not be able to travel. But sync up with them and see how they can help you locally in terms of what's the best way to get parts and any local issues. I think Weber, what are the ways that people can kind of interact with each other?
Yes, there is a group for Gujarat M19 Oxikit. So I just joined it.
Yeah, that's the best.
Each state is having their own group so that it's easier for people to communicate locally and be able to communicate. And
Sure.
Richa, Bhanu, and Abhi and everyone is working on this. So within a day, everyone should get an update how to sort of join local teams, local chapters, so you guys can contribute.
Also, feel free to check out the Telegram, especially the pinned messages. Sometimes it's hard to take a look at that. But check out the pinned messages, which will mostly have all of the links that you may need to join the groups and get the other stuff right. All right, I can smell food here, so and my tummy is growling. So it's 9 o'clock. Should we call it 9, Weber?
Yes, I think that's a great call. I have